Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep today, and well, this time it's 18th century Europe, right in the middle of the Enlightenment, to explore a figure who, well, you might not know right off the bat,
Right.
Denis Diderot.
Yeah. Maybe not a household name like, say, Voltaire.
Exactly.
But it's just as influential, trust me.
Yeah, and we've got these awesome resources from Brazil Escola, both an article and a YouTube video transcript, all about this Diderot guy.
And you'll see, once we dig in, his ideas are still so relevant, it's kind of wild.
It's like, did this guy have a time machine or something?
Right.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's set the stage.
Okay, sounds good.
So Diderot, he wasn't just born spouting enlightened ideals, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the sources paint this picture of him, starting out, get this, on the path to priesthood.
It's true, and you know, that Jesuit education he got.
Oh yeah, gotta be super strict, right?
Intense, man, like boot camp for the mind, all about tradition and dogma.
But that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Seems like he kind of backfired.
You could say that. Gave him the tools to question everything.
Talk about irony. Huge irony.
So there he is, young Diderot. You can practically picture him receiving the tonsure.
Yeah, can you
Saving part of his head, dedicating himself to the church.
And then bam, he does a 180,
Total plot twist.
ditches the whole priesthood
That's
thing,
it.
dives headfirst into philosophy and knowledge.
God, I wonder what sparked that. Was he always a rebel at heart, or is this like the Enlightenment bug biting him?
Well, think about it. The Enlightenment's brewing all around him, right?
Yeah.
It's this time of upheaval, questioning everything, new ideas popping up everywhere.
Like a giant intellectual party, and Diderot's the life of it.
Exactly. Drawn to the power of reason, thinking for yourself. That's Diderot all over.
And leaving the church. I mean, that's a huge G statement back then.
You're not kidding. It took guts.
Shows you how deeply he believed in this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Total commitment to his own intellectual path, no matter what anyone else thought.
And that's what leads him to arguably his biggest accomplishment, right?
The encyclopedia.
Ah, yes, the encyclopedia, now we're talking.
I'm picturing like a giant dusty book.
Well, yeah, but also so much more.
Okay, so what is it exactly? Like the 18th century version of Wikipedia.
Haha, that's actually a pretty good way to think about it.
Really?
Yeah, Diderot and this other brilliant guy, Jean-Laurent d'Alembert, they team up
Okay.
their mission, compile all the knowledge, not just facts, philosophies, discoveries, practical stuff, you name it.
Ambitious much.
A map of human understanding, that's what they were going for.
Wow. Okay, so massive undertaking. I get that.
Especially without the internet, right?
Right. They're doing it all by hand, basically.
But they have this system, these cross-references, like early hyperlinks.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah, connecting different ideas, you see.
So it's not just about hoarding knowledge, it's about sharing it, making it accessible.
Boom, there's the revolutionary part.
So it's a direct challenge to the church, the state, anyone who wanted to control what people knew.
Exactly. Knowledge is power, and the encyclopedia is like power to the people.
And the church is obviously not a fan of that,
Oh, not one bit.
especially with Diderot being, well, let's just say it, an atheist.
Right, and a materialist believed the universe operates on natural laws, not divine intervention.
So he's not just pushing boundaries, he's like full on confronting the establishment.
And that takes some serious guts, especially back then.
I mean, he even ends up in prison for his beliefs.
Yep, this is serious stuff, not just some intellectual debate.
Shows you how much these ideas meant to him.
Absolutely. Willing to risk it all for what he believed in, and even the encyclopedia itself faces censorship. Imagine that.
Wow. Yeah, you don't really think about that, huh?
But it shows you the power of ideas, and how those in power often try to control them. Always relevant, even today.
Makes you appreciate how important freedom of speech really is, right?
Big time. A right Diderot fought hard for.
And, you know, it's not all just intellectual battles and heavy stuff.
Right, there's another side to him.
Yeah, he's a huge champion of the arts, too.
Oh, absolutely. Loved art. Believed in its power to elevate us, inspire us, you know.
Not just pretty pictures, but something deeper.
Way deeper. He saw it as a force for social change, even.
Wow, okay, so essays, plays, even art criticism. This guy's got his fingers in everything.
A true Renaissance man, wouldn't you say?
I'm exhausted just thinking about it.
But there's more. He's particularly interested in how art connects to morality, you see.
Okay, now this is getting really interesting.
So for him, beauty isn't just surface level. It's about inspiring virtue, making society more ethical.
So he's not just passively enjoying art. He's like actively engaging with it, debating it, trying to figure out its impact.
You got it. He sees art as this tool for social progress, for making us better people.
Wow, and this all ties into his humanism, right?
Exactly. His belief that we're all inherently good, we all have potential, and art helps us tap into that.
Okay, I'm starting to see why Diderot is such a key figure in the whole Enlightenment thing.
Right. He's not just a philosopher. He's like this embodiment of the whole spirit of the age.
His drive to question, to explore, to improve ourselves and the world around us.
And that brings us to, well, let's just say it, a bit of a head-scratcher.
Oh.
His relationship with Catherine the Great of Russia.
Now that's an interesting pairing, huh?
Here's Diderot, outspoken critic of absolute monarchy, buddy-buddy with one of the most powerful monarchs of his time.
So how did that happen? Was Catherine secretly an Enlightenment fan?
Well, she was definitely interested in those ideas, corresponded with all the big thinkers, Voltaire, Diderot, you name it.
Huh. So she saw herself as a progressive ruler, I guess.
Oh yeah, modernizing Russia, putting it on the map, that was her thing.
So not just playing the part, actually trying to incorporate these Enlightenment ideas into her reign.
Exactly. But let's not get too romantic about it. She was still a politician, right?
Right. Power and influence. That's the game.
So she picks and chooses the ideas that suit her, promoting education, legal reforms, things like that.
Enlightened despotism, that's what they call it, right?
Bingo. Taking some good ideas, but still holding on to all the power.
So, tricky situation for Diderot, I imagine.
Absolutely. Caught between his ideals and the reality of power.
Does he ever call her out on it?
That's the million-dollar question, and it gets to the heart of their dynamic.
Okay, I'm hooked.
Diderot's not naive. He knows the deal with monarchy, but he also sees Catherine as an opportunity, you know?
To maybe influence her, nudge her towards more enlightened policies.
Maybe, or maybe he's playing the long game. We don't really know.
It's like this fascinating chess match between ideas and power.
And it raises all these questions about how change actually happens. Can you really make a difference from within the system?
Yeah, it's not just a history lesson. It's like directly relevant to today, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. We're still struggling with these same questions about democracy, power, individual liberty.
It's like Diderot was ahead of his time, somehow.
Or maybe these are just timeless human questions. We keep coming back to them.
So we've gone from Diderot's religious beginnings to his radical shift towards philosophy, his work on the encyclopedia, this massive undertaking.
His battles for freedom of thought, his passion for the arts, his complicated dance with power.
Man, what a life. What a complex guy.
And it shows you the Enlightenment wasn't just this neat and tidy progression towards reason and lardy.
Or like a messy, bumpy road.
Exactly. Full of tough choices, compromises, setbacks.
It's a good reminder that the past wasn't all sunshine and roses.
No, but it's full of lessons we can learn from, challenges we can relate to.
And that brings us to, well, what does it all mean for us today?
Right. How do we grapple with Diderot's ideas now in our own time?
How do we live up to those ideals of curiosity, critical thinking, using knowledge to make the world better?
Big questions, but that's the legacy of Diderot, isn't it?
He challenges us to think, to engage, to keep pushing forward.
And that's something worth thinking about.
It is. So, listeners, what are your thoughts on all of this? What resonates with you?
Yeah, chime in. We'd love to hear your perspective on Diderot and his impact on the world.
Because, after all, this is a deep dive, and we're all in this together.
Absolutely. Let's keep the conversation going.
Exactly. And we'll be back soon to explore even more facets of Diderot's fascinating life and work.
So stay tuned. There's much more to uncover. It's like you said, the church is not happy about this whole encyclopedia thing.
It's like knowledge for everyone, not on their watch.
Right. They're all about controlling information, keeping the power for themselves.
But Diderot, he's like, nope, not going to happen.
Exactly. He's a total rebel, challenging the status quo.
So Diderot faces some serious consequences, right? He ends up in prison for his beliefs.
Yeah, they weren't messing around back then.
It's kind of hard to imagine being locked up for your ideas, you know?
I know. It shows you just how high the stakes were.
Diderot was putting his freedom on the line for what he believed in?
Absolutely. And it wasn't just him.
What do you mean?
The encyclopedia itself, it gets censored.
Wow, they actually tried to suppress the whole project.
They were trying to control the flow of knowledge, keep people in the dark.
It's a reminder that freedom of speech is something we have to constantly fight for.
Exactly. It's not a given. It's a right that people like Diderot fought hard for.
It's so important to remember that, even today.
Absolutely. We can't take it for granted.
So Diderot's story is about way more than just intellectual debates, right? He was also a huge champion of the arts.
Oh, absolutely. He loved art, believed in its power to elevate the human spirit, you know?
Not just pretty pictures, but something more profound.
Exactly. He saw it as a force for social change, even.
Wow, okay, he wrote essays, plays, he even dove into art criticism.
He was a true polymath, interested in all forms of human expression.
I'm getting tired just thinking about all the things he accomplished.
But there's a key point here.
Okay, I'm listening.
Diderot was really interested in the connection between art and morality.
Yeah, interesting. What do you mean by that?
Well, for Diderot, beauty wasn't just about aesthetics. It was about its ability to inspire virtue and create a more ethical society.
So he wasn't just passively observing art. He was thinking deeply about its impact on people and society.
He was actively engaging with it, debating its merits, and encouraging its potential to make a difference.
I like that. Art as a tool for social progress.
Exactly. And this ties in with his humanism, his belief in the inherent goodness and potential of every person.
So he saw art as a way to unlock that potential, to help us become better versions of ourselves.
Precisely. It's a powerful idea.
It really is, and it helps explain why Diderot is so essential to understanding the Enlightenment, right?
He embodies the spirit of the age, the questioning, the exploration, the desire to improve ourselves and the world.
Okay, so we've talked about his intellectual journey, his passion for the arts, but there's one more piece of the puzzle.
Right, and it's a bit of a strange one.
Lay it on me.
His relationship with Catherine the Great of Russia.
Yep. Now that's an unexpected pairing. Diderot, the critic of absolute monarchy, becoming friends with one of the most powerful monarchs in Europe.
It's a real head-scratcher, isn't it?
So how did this unlikely friendship even begin? Was Catherine secretly an Enlightenment groupie or something?
Well, she was definitely interested in Enlightenment ideas.
Okay, so she wasn't just playing the part of an enlightened monarch. She was actually engaging with these ideas.
She corresponded with many leading thinkers of the time, including Voltaire and, of course, Diderot.
So she saw herself as a progressive ruler, trying to modernize Russia and make it a major player on the world stage.
Exactly. But we also have to remember that she was a shrewd politician with her own agenda.
Right, power and influence were still her main priorities.
So she kind of cherry-picked the Enlightenment ideas that suited her purposes.
Like promoting education and implementing some legal reforms.
She was trying to balance these progressive ideas with the reality of being an absolute ruler.
It sounds like a delicate balancing act.
It was, and it's a complex issue that historians still debate today.
So this whole concept of enlightened despotism is a tricky one.
It is, because it raises questions about how much real change can happen without fundamentally challenging the existing power structures.
It makes you think about the limits of reform and whether real progress requires more radical transformations.
Exactly, and it's a question that's still relevant today.
Absolutely. Diderot's story is a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge and freedom is an ongoing process.
It's not a destination, it's a journey. And it often involves difficult choices and compromises.
And sometimes even unlikely alliances, like the one between Diderot and Catherine the Great.
Exactly. It's a reminder that history is messy and progress is rarely straightforward. It really makes you think what Diderot would say about our world today.
Imagine showing him the internet.
This guy spent years compiling knowledge into a physical encyclopedia.
And now we have access to, like, all the information in the world at our fingertips.
It would probably blow his mind.
Seriously, talk about democratizing knowledge.
It's incredible, but also a bit overwhelming, right?
Totally. There's so much information out there, it's hard to know what to trust.
That's true, but I think Diderot would be excited about the potential.
Yeah, the ability to learn, connect, share ideas, all thanks to technology.
It's really amazing when you think about it.
And, you know, the encyclopedia wasn't just about highfalutin concepts.
Right, it included practical knowledge, too.
Like, I read that it had detailed illustrations of crafts and inventions.
Exactly. Diderot believed that knowledge should be useful, that it should help people solve real-world problems.
It wasn't just an academic exercise. It was about empowering people with practical skills.
He was a true believer in the power of education to uplift individuals and transform society.
That's a vision that still resonates today, for sure.
Especially as we face all these complex global challenges.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Denis Diderot, what's the one key takeaway you hope our listeners will remember?
I think Diderot's life and work show us that knowledge is a powerful tool for change.
But it's not enough to just have knowledge, right?
Exactly. It requires courage, critical thinking, and a willingness to challenge the status quo.
He was never afraid to ask tough questions, even if it meant risking his own freedom.
And he showed us that intellectual curiosity and a passion for learning can make a real difference in the world.
Well said. I think that's a perfect note to end on.
It's been a fascinating journey exploring Diderot's life and ideas.
I agree, and we hope our listeners have enjoyed it too.
And who knows, maybe it will inspire some of you to dig a little deeper and explore the world of the Enlightenment.
There's always more to learn and discover, and we'll be back soon with another deep dive into a new and exciting topic.
So stay tuned and keep those minds curious.
Thanks for listening, everyone.